Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I am up on a hill. I've been on this hill several times over the last couple months. We're right next to Sacred Stone Camp. That way is the frozen Cannonball River. You got snow over it. This section where I've been several times, the Missouri River flows into Cannonball River, and way across, you probably can't see, but way across is where the drilling and the pipeline goes through, Dakota Access Pipeline. So I used to come up here because it was actually the one place I could get Wi-Fi in this camp. So I'm back up here today. Wanted to give you some updates. We've been in Sacred Stone Camp now for a little bit, doing some interviews. You'll be able to see them on youtube.com/TYT Politics. I interviewed a Native woman who's currently on day 14 of a hunger strike. So what better way to show your love on Valentine's Day than day 14 of her hunger strike? Kisses and love to the viewers out there. I'm still single, by the way, so hey, ladies. She's on day 14 of her hunger strike. She seems to be ready to go all the way until this pipeline is stopped. Her name is Tanya Albid, and that video will be going up. Also did an interview with a former Wisconsin representative, Joe Plouffe. He's down here for a few weeks now, really against what's happening and against our politicians who are staying silent on this issue. So spoke with him. That'll be up on youtube.com/TYT Politics. But yesterday, if you weren't paying attention, the temporary restraining order was denied by a federal judge. Cheyenne River Tribe, as well as Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, had filed a temporary restraining order motion. The judge, in his infinite wisdom, said, well, your religious rights are not under imminent harm because the oil is not flowing yet. So apparently he's just going to wait for the pipeline to be completed and the oil to flow, and then he'll take a look at the religious question. I spoke last night with Jan Hasselman. He is the attorney for Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. That interview is up on youtube.com/TYT Politics. So he was in the courtroom yesterday. We spoke about that motion being denied, as well as the fact that Standing Rock Sioux is going to be filing a summary judgment motion as soon as today. Summary judgment is essentially a request for an expedited decision by a judge. His words were, we want resolution to this. This has been going on long enough. So summary judgment is essentially the tribe wants an expedited decision on the overall lawsuit that they have filed against the Army Corps of Engineers. This dates back to last year. In that lawsuit, they speak about the environmental harm that this pipeline poses, as well as the sacred lands and the desecration of the sacred burial ground. So they're going to be filing that as early as today, and Jan had told me they hope to get a ruling as soon as possible. They don't want to wait till the oil is flowing in the pipeline, because as far as I know, there's never been a pipeline built with oil flowing that the government has said, oh, well, no, now we got to rule against the company. They usually bow down to the oil companies. So I wouldn't hold my breath that once the oil is flowing, then a federal judge will step in to say, nope, the pipeline can't go forward. So that's what's going on there. I wanted to give you some other updates. The lawyer for Energy Transfer Partners made a statement yesterday that I find troubling. David DeBold is his name, said that oil could start flowing in 30 days or even earlier, a much faster schedule than other company representatives have given. DeBold said, quote, the company is moving as quickly as it can to complete the pipeline to make up for lost time over the last few months. So, translated, what that means is our investors are breathing down our throat. They want the oil flowing. They want to start getting paid. There's all this slowdown over the last few months has lost them money, and we're going to say to hell with being safe, being methodical, taking our time to build the pipeline. We're just going to try to build this as fastly as possible, and when it breaks, we'll say we'll clean it up, and we won't. That's what happens in every case with these pipelines. They are built very quickly, very hastily. Even if they take their time and they're thorough, it's not a 100% safeguard that the pipeline won't break. I'm going to tell you about other pipeline breaks that are coming out now. So by him saying, oh, they're working as quickly as possible to make up for lost time, well, what about making up for just like people's rights to safe drinking water? You know, the mad dash and the brazen ploy to get this going for profit is putting more people at risk, because when you try to expedite and go quickly on building a pipeline, you miss things. You know, I'm not an expert in how pipelines are built, but the bottom line is when the company originally said drilling under Lake Oahe could take up to 60 days, and now the lawyer is saying they're going to try to have it done in 30, well, remember that statement when the pipeline breaks and the water is poisoned, because that's what he's saying right there. And these executives, you know, the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, Kelsey Warren, had gone on PBS months ago and said, oh, we're using state-of-the-art steel for this pipeline. We're putting all the advanced safeguards in. Very, very minute chance at anything happening, any spill, which is total nonsense anyway. But that statement shows, well, you could put, you know, gold. You could have a gold-plated pipeline. I'm sure President Trump would love that. You could have state-of-the-art whatever safeguards, but if you're trying to build it very, very quickly to satisfy your investors and start, you know, cashing in, that's a risk, a greater risk. Despite the fact that, like I said, even if they took their time, all these pipelines break. So let me tell you about some other pipelines that are linked to Dakota Access Pipeline. So on January 30th, the Seawee Pipeline, which is in Texas, spilled 600,000 gallons. The Seawee Pipeline was a pipeline by Enbridge, which is one of the worst of these energy companies. They have pipeline spills constantly. Their pipeline, one of the biggest ones they had was the Kalamazoo River in Michigan years ago that has killed wildlife, has gotten people sick. They said they cleaned it up. You know, whistleblowers like John Bolenbaugh, I think his last name is, have done documentary work, done a lot of film work, showing you him stepping in the Kalamazoo River when they said it was cleaned up, shoveling in and oil draping him. So they never cleaned it up. The Seawee Pipeline is Enbridge's in Texas. Seawee is half owned by Enbridge and serves as the final leg of a pipeline system nicknamed Keystone XL Clone, which carries mostly tar sands extracted from Alberta, Canada, across the U.S. at a rate of 400,000 barrels per day, down to the Gulf of Mexico. Enbridge is an equity co-owner of the Dakota Access Pipeline, which received its final permit needed from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on February 7th to construct the pipeline across the Missouri River. Enbridge owns 28% of this pipeline. They got oil spills constantly, including 600,000 gallons that just spilled in Texas. Now you have Phillips 66, which owns 25% of this pipeline. As I've reported, you know, the patron saint of progressive plutocracy, Warren Buffett, is the largest shareholder in Phillips 66. I haven't heard a damn thing from Warren Buffett on Dakota Access Pipeline. Have you? The media loves to beshrine Warren Buffett as just, you know, one of the most sincere, authentic, progressive, wise billionaires out there. I think he's the second wealthiest man in the country. Well, he gives a lot of money to charity, yet he owns a lot of this pipeline and Phillips 66. He's the largest shareholder. So a natural gas pipeline owned by Phillips 66 exploded outside Paradise, Louisiana on February 9th, so a week ago. One worker went missing, and this weekend on February 11th, authorities declared him dead. Josh Helms lived in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and joined the company in November 2016. He had been working as a pipeliner for the last 8 years, the company said. Our deepest sympathies go out to his and his family, blah, blah, blah. The explosion's cause remains unknown, but responders were able to put out the fire near the Williams Discovery plant today, 4 days after it began, and now have launched a formal investigation. I'm sure the investigation will be very thorough. So what you have here is basically over half of this pipeline is owned by Enbridge and Phillips 66. You got a pipeline spill in Texas. You got a pipeline explosion in Louisiana. That's just this month. Then you have, at the end of January, a report came out that Energy Transfer Partners had 69 oil spills between 2015 and 2016. Do you hear any of this on CNN? You hear any of this on MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post? Of course not. You know, I'm getting a little riled up because All these people like to troll, actual journalists. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're biased. This is not my opinion. This is facts of what's going on. This is facts at these number of oil spills. And by the way, they're a very generous facts, because I don't believe, and you shouldn't believe, that Energy Transfer Partners has only had 69 oil spills. These companies like to say, well, we don't report the spills that are, small spills and not that big of a deal. Well, what do you consider a small spill? They consider every spill to be small, because they don't want that kind of information going out there. They don't want their dirty laundry going out there. And you got right here in North Dakota, they're trying to push a bill to lower the threshold for reporting oil spills, even though they don't report oil spills as it is here in North Dakota. And, to the naysayers, I know there's a lot of people in North Dakota who think I'm, trying to diminish the state and, talk bad about the state. I have nothing against the people of North Dakota. You seem lovely, most of you. But the bottom line is your legislators are not protecting you, because this is your water too. Whether you're for a pipeline or not, you drink the water, and I think that's being lost in the conversation. But so you have over 50% of the pipeline is owned by Enbridge and Phillips 66. President Trump, as I've reported over and over again, I keep saying it because I don't hear it out there. I don't hear it on social media. I don't hear it in the media. President Trump is invested in the pipeline. He owns shares of Phillips 66, and he, I believe, owns shares of Energy Transfer Partners. Now, the media has reported that he has sold his shares in Energy Transfer Partners. How about you show us your stock portfolio, President Trump? We haven't seen your taxes. I haven't seen your stock portfolio showing whether you have shares currently in Energy Transfer Partners. But can you imagine if Hillary Clinton was president and she had shares in a pipeline and was trying to ram the pipeline through? We'd be out with bows and arrows, or worse, in the streets against Hillary Clinton. I don't know why there's a different standard for President Trump. He is invested in the pipeline. He's also invested in a lot of other oil companies, so that he has not sold. And the actual transparency coming from President Trump and his White House is right now even worse than President Obama's was, and his wasn't so great either. So I think what you see the backdrop. They are drilling 24/7. You can't see them drilling right now, but right across the way, they are drilling very quickly, very hastily, and as that lawyer said, they are trying to get this done as quickly as possible to make up for lost time. So I never bullshit the audience. As I said yesterday, listen, it does not look good. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I'm not going to predict what's going to happen, but this hearing, them getting that temporary restraining order denied, is not a positive thing, obviously. There still is some life left to the legal process. It's still possible the pipeline can get shut down, but right now it doesn't look good. But that doesn't mean you should stop peacefully fighting and praying, whether it's a Native American on a hunger strike, whether it's you divesting from a bank, whether it's you calling your local legislators and asking them why they're not doing anything about the Dakota Access Pipeline. I'm talking to you people in New York. I'm talking to you people in Massachusetts. I'm talking to you people in California. Chuck Schumer hasn't said anything about this. Nancy Pelosi hasn't said anything about this. Elizabeth Warren is not talking about this. Bernie Sanders has talked about this. Tulsi Gabbard has spoken about this. Raul Grijalva has spoken about this. But you know what? It's not just about the pipeline. Where is the conversation about the police brutality towards these Native Americans and non-natives? Where's the conversation about the Native Americans being railroaded through the North Dakota legal system, having charges concocted out of thin air against them? Luckily, yesterday there was some sanity in North Dakota. If you didn't see me yesterday, a bill that would have basically made it legal for, my cameraman Ty, if he was driving and saw me, a water protector on the street, he could run me over and he would not be held liable. So basically, I call it the roadkill bill. It would allow legalized murder with no liability to the person driving towards someone like a water protector. That bill failed in the North Dakota House. There was 41 yay votes and 50 no votes. So I could get you the 41 people who voted yes for that if you want to make some calls. But thankfully, there was some sanity that didn't legalize, vehicular manslaughter or murder here in North Dakota. But they have other bills that they're passing that are moving felonies from Class C felonies to Class B felonies, that are moving, making fines more expensive for water protectors, that are trying to add on 5 years to jail sentences for water protectors. Make no mistake, this is an attempt to criminalize the First Amendment. It's an attempt to criminalize freedom of speech. It's an attempt to criminalize the right to protest. And they're also, by the way, charging a journalist here, who I'm going to be speaking with later today. She was at the Last Child's camp covering that as it was raided last week, and she is being charged with engaging in a riot and criminal trespassing. That's a journalist. And I'm going to cover her because she doesn't have the profile. Her name's Janet Monet, I believe. She doesn't have the profile of an Amy Goodman. But it's just as important. Journalists should not be arrested for covering a demonstration. And when she was asked to leave, she was leaving, and then they arrested her. So we'll be speaking with her later. But I'm going to be here the rest of the day. If anything else pops up, I'll go live. But share this video. Keep Standing Rock in the conversation. I do agree with all the demonstrations, all the protests that have been going around the country against President Trump's what I view as a xenophobic refugee ban. Now they're trying to deport. ICE is deporting all these immigrants, and they are hastily doing so. I totally understand. We need to be vigilant on that. Protest against that is great. Hopefully everybody has the ability to multitask, because there needs to continue to be escalated voices, escalated actions peacefully against this pipeline, as well as now they're trying to expedite Keystone again and all these other pipelines they're going to ram through. So the battle is not yet lost, and I'll continue reporting here. Happy Valentine's Day to my dog, I guess my mother, and anybody else who say they love me in this world. Take care.